Wildfires are changing. They are no longer a distant problem for remote areas only. Today, these fires burn closer to our homes and communities. The threat is more immediate than ever before. We see larger fires. We see fires burning more intensely. This means more people and more properties are at risk. Climate change plays a big role in this shift. Hotter temperatures and longer droughts create perfect conditions for fires to start and spread rapidly. We must understand this new reality. Ignoring it is not an option for safety. The idea that wildfires only happen somewhere else is now a dangerous myth. Many communities once thought safe now face significant wildfire danger. Urban and suburban areas are increasingly part of the wildland-urban interface. This is where developed land meets wild, natural land. As these interface areas grow, so does the potential for devastating fire impacts. We can no longer rely on old assumptions about where fires burn. The patterns are shifting, and the risk is expanding into new territories. We need to adapt our thinking and our preparations. News reports fill our screens with images of these destructive events. We hear stories of families losing everything. These are not just stories, they are warnings. They tell us that preparation is essential. The fire season is also getting longer in many regions. What used to be a few months of high alert can now stretch for much of the year. This sustained period of risk requires constant vigilance. It demands that we take proactive steps to protect ourselves, our loved ones, and our properties from the growing threat. This increased threat means we must all become more fire aware. We need to learn about the specific risks in our own areas. We must understand how fires behave and what makes our homes vulnerable. This knowledge is the first step towards effective protection. It is not about fear. It is about empowerment. By recognizing the immediate nature of the wildfire threat, we can motivate ourselves to take meaningful action. The time to prepare is now, before the smoke appears on the horizon and the sirens begin to wail. Many people believe that a home burns down in a wildfire because a giant wall of flames directly engulfs it. This is a common misconception. While direct flame contact is certainly destructive, a more frequent culprit is far smaller. Most homes lost in wildfires are actually ignited by embers. These are small, burning pieces of debris. They can be as tiny as a speck of dust or as large as a person's hand. They are carried by the wind, often far ahead of the main fire front. These wind-driven embers are incredibly dangerous. They can travel for a kilometer or even more. They land on or near a house, often in hidden places. They can get into vents, under eaves, or into piles of flammable material. If an ember finds something combustible, like dry leaves in a gutter or a wooden deck, it can start a new fire. This new fire then grows and can consume the entire structure. It is a stealthy attack. The main fire might still be far away when embers begin their destructive work on vulnerable homes. Think of embers as tiny flying torches. They seek out any weakness in your home's defenses. A small crack, an unscreened vent, or a pile of dry pine needles can become an entry point. Once inside or ignited nearby, they can smolder for hours before erupting into flames. This delayed ignition means a house might seem safe, only to catch fire long after the main fire front has passed. This is why understanding and addressing the ember threat is so critical for home survival in a wildfire event. The science is clear on this. Post-fire assessments consistently show that ember ignition is the leading cause of home loss. Researchers study burn patterns and interview firefighters. Their findings all point to the same conclusion. Protecting a home from wildfire means protecting it from embers first and foremost. If you can stop embers from igniting your home, you dramatically increase its chances of surviving. This understanding shifts our focus from just the big flames to the countless small sparks that pose a pervasive threat. The most critical area for protecting your home from embers is the space immediately surrounding it. Experts call this the immediate zone or zone zero. This zone extends 1.5 meters, about 5 feet, out from the foundation of your house in all directions. This small area is your last line of defense. It must be kept completely free of anything that can easily ignite. Embers landing in this zone should find nothing to burn. This simple step can make a huge difference in whether your home survives a wildfire. Within this 1.5 meter zone, all combustible materials must be removed. This includes things like dry leaves, pine needles, grass, and bark mulch. Wooden planter boxes, flammable doormats, and stored firewood should also be moved away from the house. Even small accumulations of debris can provide fuel for embers. Regular maintenance is key. You need to sweep or rake this area frequently, especially during fire season. Think of it as creating a non-combustible welcome mat around your entire home's perimeter. Instead of flammable materials, use hardscaping in this immediate zone. Hardscaping refers to non-combustible landscaping features. Examples include gravel, pavers, concrete walkways, or rock gardens. These materials will not ignite if embers land on them. They create a fire-resistant barrier right next to your home. This significantly reduces the chance of embers igniting something that then spreads to your siding or windows. Hardscaping is a smart, long-term investment in your home's wildfire safety that pays dividends. Consider the base of your walls carefully. Embers often accumulate where the wall meets the ground. If there are flammable materials here, they can ignite the siding. Using gravel or concrete right up to the foundation is ideal. If you have a deck or porch, the area underneath it also needs attention. Ensure it is either enclosed with fire-resistant material or kept completely clear of combustibles. This 1.5-meter ember-free zone is a fundamental principle of wildfire home defense. It is practical and highly effective. Beyond the immediate 1.5-meter zone, the materials your home is built from play a vital role in its defense against wildfire. Upgrading to fire-resistant building materials is a key strategy for hardening your home. This means making it less vulnerable to ignition from embers and radiant heat. The roof is often the most vulnerable part of a house. Embers can land on it and ignite flammable roofing materials like old wooden shingles. Using Class A fire-rated roofing materials is crucial. These include asphalt shingles, metal, slate, or tile. Siding is another important consideration. Traditional wooden siding can be very flammable. Fire-resistant siding options include fiber cement, stucco, and brick. These materials can withstand higher temperatures and resist ignition from embers. If you are building a new home or planning a major renovation in a wildfire-prone area, choosing fire-resistant siding is a wise investment. Even if you are not renovating, ensure your current siding is in good condition. Seal any gaps or cracks where embers could lodge and start a fire. Attention to detail here is paramount. Windows are also vulnerable points. The heat from a wildfire can break glass, allowing embers and flames to enter your home. Double-paned windows offer better protection than single-paned ones. Tempered glass is even stronger and more resistant to breakage from heat. Metal window frames are preferable to vinyl, which can melt and deform at high temperatures, compromising the seal. Small details like ensuring window screens are metal rather than nylon can also help prevent ember entry. Every component matters. Finally, pay attention to vents. Attics, crawl spaces, and dryer vents can provide direct pathways for embers to enter your home. Cover all vent openings with fine metal mesh screens. The openings in the mesh should be no larger than 3 millimeters, or 1/8 inch. This will block most embers while still allowing for proper ventilation. Sealing gaps around pipes and utility lines where they enter the house is also important. The goal is to create a continuous, ember-resistant shell around your home. 5. Beyond the walls, fences, gutters, and vents. Wooden fences attached directly to a house can act like a wick, drawing fire straight to the structure. If embers ignite the fence, the flames can easily spread to the siding or eaves of your home. This is a common way houses are lost. To prevent this, it is best to replace any section of a wooden fence that adjoins your home with a metal gate or non-combustible fencing material. At least the first 1.5 meters or 5 feet of the fence closest to the house should be made of metal or masonry. This creates a crucial fire break. Gutters are another major trap for embers. They often fill with dry leaves, pine needles, and other flammable debris. When embers land in these debris-filled gutters, they can easily ignite. The resulting fire can then spread to the roof edge, fascia, or attic. Keeping gutters clean is a vital and ongoing maintenance task, especially during fire season. Consider installing metal gutter guards. These guards prevent debris from accumulating in the gutters while still allowing water to flow through. This simple upgrade can significantly reduce your home's vulnerability. Vents, as mentioned earlier, require special attention. Attic vents, soffit vents, foundation vents, and dryer vents are all potential entry points for embers. Even small embers, if they get into an attic filled with flammable insulation or stored items, can start a devastating fire. Using 1/8-inch metal mesh screens on all vent openings is a standard recommendation. Ensure these screens are securely attached and regularly inspected for damage. Sealing any gaps around vent installations is also important for complete protection. Eaves and soffits also need careful consideration. Open eaves can trap embers and heat, leading to ignition. Boxing in eaves with fire-resistant materials can help. Soffit vents under the eaves should be protected with fine metal mesh. The goal is to eliminate any nooks and crannies where embers can collect and smolder. Every small improvement you make to these exterior features contributes to a more fire-resistant home. It's about creating multiple layers of defense against the pervasive threat of embers carried by the wind. 6. Creating defensible space, a wider buffer against flames. Beyond the immediate 1.5-meter zone, creating defensible space is crucial for reducing wildfire risk. Defensible space is an area around your home where vegetation has been modified to slow the spread of fire. It also provides a safer area for firefighters to defend your home if necessary. This space typically extends out to 30 meters or 100 feet from the house or to your property line if it's closer. It is often divided into two main zones, each with specific recommendations for fuel reduction. The first zone, often called the lean, clean, and green zone, typically extends from 1.5 meters or 5 feet out to 9 meters or 30 feet from your home. In this area, trees should be thinned out. Remove dead or dying trees and shrubs. Prune lower branches of remaining trees to at least 2 to 3 meters or 6 to 10 feet from the ground to prevent fire from climbing into the canopy. Ensure there is good spacing between shrubs and tree canopies. Use well-irrigated, fire-resistant plants if you choose to landscape here. Keep grass mowed short. The second zone, the reduced fuel zone, extends from 9 meters or 30 feet out to 30 meters or 100 feet or your property line. Here, the goal is to reduce the overall fuel load. Thin out trees and shrubs to create more space between them. Remove accumulated dead wood and debris from the ground. While more vegetation is allowed here than in the inner zone, it should be maintained to prevent a continuous path for fire to travel. The aim is to slow the fire's intensity and reduce the likelihood of flames reaching your home. Creating defensible space is not a one-time task. It requires ongoing maintenance. Grasses grow, leaves fall, and branches die. Regular upkeep is essential to ensure the space remains effective. Many communities have local guidelines or ordinances for defensible space. Check with your local fire department or forestry agency for specific recommendations for your area. By actively managing the vegetation around your home, you create a buffer that can significantly improve its chances of surviving a wildfire and make it safer for firefighters. 7. Community action stronger together against wildfire. Individual home protection is vital, but wildfire defense becomes much more effective when entire communities work together. A single well-prepared home can still be at risk if neighboring properties are not also fire-resistant. Embers from a burning neighboring house or unmanaged vegetation nearby can easily spread. Community-wide efforts create a stronger, more resilient defense against the threat. This involves neighbors helping neighbors and working collectively on risk reduction projects. It fosters a shared sense of responsibility. One successful model is the FireWise USA Registered Trademark Program. This initiative encourages communities to organize, identify their wildfire risks, and develop action plans. These plans might include community cleanup days to remove flammable debris, group efforts to create defensible space, or initiatives to help elderly or disabled residents prepare their properties. When people work together, they can achieve more than they could alone. They can also share resources and knowledge, making everyone safer. Success stories from FireWise communities show significant reductions in home losses during wildfires. Local governments and fire departments play a crucial role in supporting these community efforts. They can provide educational resources, technical assistance, and sometimes grants for fuel reduction projects. They can also help establish clear communication channels for wildfire alerts and evacuation orders. Public meetings and workshops can raise awareness and motivate residents to take action. Building strong partnerships between residents, local authorities, and fire professionals is key to creating fire-adapted communities that can withstand the increasing wildfire challenges. Furthermore, community action can extend to advocating for better building codes and land use planning. Stricter codes for new construction in high-risk areas can ensure that future homes are built to higher fire-resistant standards. Thoughtful land use planning can help limit development in the most hazardous zones. These larger-scale changes require collective voices and persistent effort. When a community unites with a common goal of wildfire safety, it can make a profound difference in protecting lives and properties for generations to come. 8 Renters and wildfire safety, taking protective steps. Homeowners are not the only ones who need to think about wildfire safety. Renters also face risks and can take important steps to protect themselves and their belongings. While renters may not be able to make major structural changes to their properties, they can still significantly improve their safety. The first step is awareness. Understand the wildfire risk in your area. Know your evacuation routes and have a plan. Discuss wildfire safety with your landlord or property manager. Communication is extremely important. Renters can focus on temporary and non-structural measures. Maintain the immediate 1.5 meter zone around the rental unit if it's your responsibility. Keep this area clear of flammable items like doormats, potted plants with dry material, and stored items. Ensure that any outdoor furniture is made of non-combustible material or can be easily moved away from the structure during high fire danger. Clean gutters if accessible and permitted. Store flammable liquids like propane tanks or gasoline well away from the dwelling, following safety guidelines. Advocacy is also a tool for renters. You can talk to your landlord about the importance of fire-resistant upgrades. Suggest improvements like installing metal mesh screens on vents or upgrading to fire-resistant window coverings. While the landlord is ultimately responsible for structural improvements, informed tenants can encourage positive changes. Document any requests in writing. Renters insurance is also crucial. Ensure your policy covers wildfire damage and includes adequate coverage for your personal belongings. Keep an inventory of your possessions. Evacuation preparedness is paramount for renters. Since you cannot control the building's overall fire resistance, your ability to evacuate safely and quickly is your primary defense. Have a go bag ready with essential supplies. Know multiple ways out of your neighborhood. Sign up for local emergency alerts. If you have pets, include them in your evacuation plan. Remember, your safety and the safety of your household members come first. Taking these proactive steps can make a significant difference in a wildfire emergency, even if you don't own the property. 9. Preparation is key evacuation plans and staying informed. No matter how well you prepare your home, there will be times when evacuation is the safest option. Having a well-thought-out evacuation plan is essential for every household. This plan should include multiple escape routes from your home and neighborhood, as fires can block roads unexpectedly. Designate a meeting place for family members in case you get separated. Practice your evacuation plan, especially with children, so everyone knows what to do in an emergency. Share your plan with out-of-area contacts. A critical part of preparation is assembling go bags or emergency supply kits for each member of your household, including pets. These kits should contain essentials to last for several days. Include items like water, non-perishable food, a flashlight, batteries, a first aid kit, medications, copies of important documents like insurance papers and identification, cash, and a change of clothes. Keep these kits in an easily accessible place so you can grab them quickly if you need to leave. Check and update your kits regularly. Technology plays an increasingly important role in wildfire preparedness and response. Sign up for official emergency alerts from your local authorities. These can be delivered via text message, phone call, or mobile app. Many communities use systems like Nixle or the Integrated Public Alert and Warning System, IPAWS. Monitor reliable news sources and official agency websites or social media feeds for up-to-date information during a wildfire event. Weather radios with a specific area message encoding, same, feature can also provide critical alerts. Finally, remember that awareness and vigilance are ongoing. Stay informed about current fire conditions and restrictions in your area, such as burn bans. Talk to your neighbors about preparedness. Participate in community wildfire safety events. The more prepared you are, the calmer and more effective you will be if a wildfire threatens. Preparation is not just about things, it's about a mindset. It's about taking responsibility for your safety and the safety of those around you. Anyone can make a difference by being prepared.